Hey guys, I'm Will from Tested.
I'm Norm from Tested.
Norm, juicing is a thing these days.
It's very popular.
Yeah, and we're not talking about steroids or those orange squeezy things that you put half the orange in and, you know.
You turn the orange?
Well, there's that kind, and then there's also the one that you have that has the lever and it mashes.
Oh, mashes. Like a grapefruit juice.
Well, and then there's the other one that they have like in bars to get a little bit of juice out of a lime. Right. We're not talking about any of that.
Do you know what the one where you turn the orange?
It's called a reamer.
It is called a reamer.
Yeah, a reamer. Think about that for a minute. We're talking about juicing vegetables and other kinds of fruit. So there's basically two kinds of juicers that are available on the market today. Yep. And we have representatives of both here. The one on the left is a Breville.
And it's a centrifugal.
Centrifugal?
Centrifugal?
Centrifugal.
Like centrifugal force.
That's not a real thing, but this is a real product.
It's a centrifugal juicer.
So the way this works is that there's a feed tube in the top that's 3 or 4 inches across, 3 inches across, I think exactly. You jam the food down in this hole, and then there's a basket with some blades inside that spins at a really, really high speed.
It's a circular blade, and what happens is the juice goes through the basket.
The liquid goes straight out.
And when the basket's filled up with pulp, then it spills over into a reservoir.
I think it probably blasts out. I bet it's going to get real gnarly up here.
It spins very fast.
Right. 6,500 RPMs to 13,000 RPMs.
That's for this specific model.
Very high speed for this particular model. Your mileage may vary depending on the model you get. There's some benefits to this. It's typically easier to clean. It's easier set up and break down. It
also can juice tougher objects.
Yeah, so things like carrots and beets and turnips.
And you can adjust the rotational speed.
Exactly. The other competing technology is this. It's called a macerating juicer.
Masticating.
Masticating. Basically what it does is forces the product that's going to get juiced, pulped, into a very small area where it's mashed through a fine mesh and some kind of rough blades. They're not sharp blades. They're just hard metal with straight edges.
So masticating means chewing. So basically you have an auger inside.
I can show you.
Which is, it's like what...
it's a drill bit,
basically to take material out.
So this is the auger. It rotates at a very slow speed. Where that turns at 6,500 to 13,000 RPMs. This runs at about 80 to 100 RPMs.
Very, very high torque.
It's a very strong motor. So the vegetables come down this hole, get caught in these blades, push forward into this guy, and you can see there's some blades inside here, and then there's a fine mesh that the juice will come out. There's a couple of different ends for this kind of juicer. Typically, this one comes with a juicer that has a strainer end. There's also ends for making pasta and things like that, because it's basically the same motion if you want to make, say, linguine or fettuccine or something like that.
And so the centrifugal juicer will juice faster, but the masticating juicer will actually get more juice potential. So
yeah, we were looking at these. We read reviews on a bunch of different sites. The Wirecutter review rounds up all of the different reviews relatively well. Basically, they say if you want to do fruit and vegetables and hard stuff, the centrifugal one is okay, but there's a fair amount of waste.
And the Breville one is a fine model for that.
Exactly. If you want to do green leafy vegetables, focus on a masticating juicer like this Omega.
And they're very comparable in price, around $200.
Yeah, so this one was, I think, it's 340 list, but in reality it's $250 on Amazon, all sorts of places. This is around 200.
So let's demonstrate some juicing. Let's just use some fruit, because fruit has a lot of juice in it, and people like, they make orange juice or apple juice at home, and we want to compare how much liquid you actually get.
So again, neither of these are really optimal for juicing oranges, but yeah, the reputation is that with the masticating you'll get better yield than you will with the centrifugal. So we've prepared some stuff. We have about 240 grams of orange.
260 grams of oranges in each. And let's start this. I'm going to set the Breville juicer to mode 2, which is citrus. Juicing, level 2. And it can get a little loud. I'm going to demonstrate how loud this gets, actually, by turning it on.
Sounds like a big fan.
It's like a big fan, big vacuum. And if you look down the tube, you can actually see it's spinning very fast.
Okay, so let's start at the same time. I have a plunger here to push. You don't put your hands down in the hole.
No, definitely don't do that.
These are both kind of scary, because if you get your hand stuck in here, bad things, man. Wow, that is violent. Holy cow.
Already coming out the side. It's like those scenes, the torture scenes in those movies.
Like Hostel? Is this an Eli Roth production?
Yeah.
I never saw that movie. Is it any good?
Not very good.
Oh. Thanks, Joey.
All right, I'm done with my orange.
On mine, you can see the pulp is coming out the front. I'm spilling everywhere, apparently.
Oh, you are totally
Joey! Okay, so we had a little bit of a spill, but everything's fine.
Which is a good thing to note because you need to make sure that your containers are
ideally, you need 2 containers. I forgot this. You need one to catch the pulp on the masticating, and one to catch the juice.
And they come out at different rates.
The pulp comes out in this front hole. You can see there's pulp in there right now.
It's kind of poopy. It's fibrous. And
that's a lot of fiber.
Yeah. Do you taste a lot of juice left in there?
It tastes like the remainder of it. No, it doesn't taste good. It tastes like everything. It tastes like peel and seeds.
And if I look at the pulp inside the centrifugal juicer, it looks very wet.
Yeah, it looks like something you could dump that into that orange juice and call it Grove Stand and charge $2 more, a half gallon for it. So you can see the pulp comes out and it's pretty dry here. There's a strainer that you put on top of the catch if you want. It's optional. And that'll pull out any big pieces that make it through. But even with the amount of juice that got soaked up by the paper towels, I still ended up with a pretty okay glass out of 1 navel orange, which is not bad.
And this is very frothy. It spins, and so it oxidizes the juice.
Yeah, so that means that there's more time for the liquid to come in contact with the air, which theoretically can break down nutrients. I haven't seen good science either way on that. But the consistency looks a lot different between these 2 juices. I don't know if you can pick that up on camera. But yours looks like Tropicana from concentrate, and this is nice and bright orange.
It's still, both are much better than Tropicana or anything from concentrate. I'm going to have a taste as well. That's really good juice.
You want to trade?
You want to have a trade.
All right, well, how are we going to know?
I'm not sharing juice with you.
We should have had shot glasses. So here we have about, 200 grams of carrots, I said?
Yep, the same amount of carrots in each of our glasses. And we're just going to go juice it. I'm going to set this to a higher spin speed.
Okay, I'm going to set mine to on. Okay. Again, same speed.
Now you also have on and reverse.
That's if it gets jammed up, you can back stuff out. It makes it a little bit easier. And again, I'm being really careful to use my plunger.
Yeah,
you can get a reverse on your body if you eat the right food. Let's kind of see how long this takes. Because I'm interested. I think yours is going to be a lot faster than mine this go around.
Absolutely.
Ready?
Yeah.
Oh, I lost a carrot. Jesus. Could you hand me that carrot on the floor if you have a sec? Damn it, I lost another carrot. So yours is a little faster.
A lot faster.
We finished at about the same time.
I was done much earlier.
Okay, now let's open this up and let's get the pulp out here, because I want to see what the difference in pulps look like.
Yeah.
This is dry, flaky. If you taste it, there's a hint of carrot taste there. This is probably the most dietary fiber I've ever eaten in one bite. Do you want to try the pulp one?
Yeah, I'm going to take some pulp out as well. This also looks very, very dry and fibrous. What do people do with the pulp?
You can do things like make carrot bread, and you can make, there's recipes, a ton of recipes. It is kind of a nutritious thing because there's a lot of dietary fiber in it, apparently.
It's very sweet. Still.
Yeah, that tastes a lot like carrot pulp. Okay, so now let's look at the juice yield. I'm pulling orange juice out of my mustache still. We'll put it back together in a minute, Norm. Okay, I have carrot juice.
I too have carrot juice.
Same amount of carrots. I'm using the same glass again. There's my yield. Nice, lovely, bright orange color. You again have some foam on top of yours, Norm. You have a lot of stuff still in the bottom there.
I'm going to use a different glass.
Frothy.
And you can see that yours actually has more juice.
Just a little tiny bit.
Just a little bit.
Are these the same glasses? We should set them down on the table. So again, you can see the froth. There's more potentially more oxidation in the second go round with the centrifugal juicer. Want to taste?
Let's do a taste. Carrot juice.
It'll taste like carrot juice.
Yeah.
Okay, carrot juice still not my favorite.
No.
Let's clean out the machines, and we have a big batch of leafy green vegetables, so you can see what's next.
Kale.
Kale. Next up, Norm, kale.
It's the wonder veggie.
I bought this kale in bunches at my grocery store. It's about $3 a bunch. So this is about half a bunch each. It's about 120 grams of kale. I like to take kale and cut it into circles and toss olive oil and salt and pepper on it, and then bake it until it's like a potato chip.
Crisp.
It's very good.
Yeah. You can also ingest it as a juice.
You can eat it raw. I just had some raw a minute ago. It's delicious. But yeah, it is a juicing additive food. Now this is where the difference between the masticating juicer and the centrifugal juicer will probably show. The masticating should theoretically be much better at extracting juice from leafy greens than the centrifugal.
But we don't expect a lot of juice either way.
Yeah, we're not going to get a half gallon of juice either way. Time to fire up the juicers. Let's see how this goes. A really bad angle for this.
I'm done.
Yeah, I have to stretch. I don't want to hear it.
There's a lot of... Let's turn mine off. The thing with this Breville juicer is that it really emits a tremendous amount of force.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to get, just...
It can make a terrible mess. Both of these can make a terrible mess.
This one will make a terrible mess in a different way.
That looks like something unpleasant.
Green cat poop?
Yes.
Yeah, so the terrifying thing about this one isn't so much the mess that it makes, it's the fact that if your finger gets caught into a tight wad of lettuce and gets pulled in there, real bad things are going to happen to your finger. I think you could probably easily lose a finger in this machine. The torque is so high. So the last of my veggies are in. This is coming out like mulch. But it's not particularly warm. I'm going to turn it off. Let's measure the juice. I think I'm still dripping. Let me give it a minute. That is some bright green, some Irish Spring type juice.
It's like a shot of kale.
It is a shot of kale. This is how you get your veggies every day if you don't like eating veggies very much. That's a fair amount of juice.
That's a lot more than I expected.
100 grams of kale, 120 grams of kale. Here, I'm going to dump mine out here. I think we're measuring into two different kinds of glasses, so this is probably the worst way imaginable to measure. But yeah, there's a lot more there, even if they're two different glasses.
A little over half.
Yes, same source material. That means there's a lot more waste with the centrifugal. For leafy green vegetables, again, the difference in the carrot and the orange was a little bit less pronounced. You want to taste?
Absolutely.
Wow, that tastes like mowing the lawn.
Wow, I feel so energized. I have the strength of 5,000 tigers.
What can you lift right now, Norm?
Juicing.
What can you lift?
Oh,
what can you lift?
I can lift this entire table. I just want to flip it over.
Flip it over.
Oh, I want more juice. Let's make more juice.
Let's more juice. Okay, so a couple other things you can do with the masticating that don't really work well in the centrifugal. Wheatgrass. If you're into wheatgrass shots, which if you're
that type of Jamba Juice guy,
if you're into that, if you want to get some boosts, then put your wheatgrass in here. It doesn't work as well with the centrifugal, if at all. I've never tried that. I couldn't find any this morning, or we would have already.
So leafy vegetables, best with them, the masticating,
yeah,
and
kind of hard stuff.
Yeah, apples and
carrots.
beets. And pineapple works great both, but yeah, the hard stuff works great in the centrifugal.
I mean, honestly though, I found that the masticating does a good job with the beets. It's a little scary, and the whole thing kind of hops around. This is a really heavy machine.
And the real big lesson learned, though, as you could see, is that it creates a big, giant mess.
This is an unbelievable mess. I'm going to just take this off right now, and I want to show you what's inside here. It is super gnarly, and this is like my next 20 minutes, pretty
much.
So
buying a juicer, a masticating juicer, is a commitment to not only juicing, because you have to buy the fruits and vegetables.
Yeah.
Some people get them delivered, but cleaning it up afterwards. So while the actual juicing will take 5 to 10 minutes, cleaning will take another 15 minutes.
Yeah, and especially with the masticating, the way the screen works, it gets clogged really easily. And you have to take it off. It comes with a little brush with a scraper end, so you can scrape stuff off if it gets jammed in the screen. In order to make this spending $250 on this worthwhile, you have to literally make 200 servings of juice, versus going to your local store and buying it from somebody who's locally producing the same kind of unprocessed vegetable juice rather. So the other thing is the shelf life of the juice.
Yeah.
I've taken juice that I've made with the masticating juicer, let it sit for 3 or 4 days. It's not as good in the second and third day, but it's still okay.
Refrigerated,
obviously refrigerated. Yeah, with the centrifugal, because of the amount of air that's introduced in the process, you probably don't want to do that. It's not going to have as long a shelf life.
You're getting a day or two.
It's an easier cleanup and an easier setup. Yeah. You don't get quite as much material out of the fruit, so if you're worried about wasting and stuff like that, then that is a concern. If you're going to use the pulp for cooking, though, my hunch is that the centrifugal pulp will end up actually being better.
And you've had this for a while. Do you use it on a regular basis?
So the juicing experience, as I have lived it, is that I used it a lot for about a month, and then I needed room in the kitchen for something. So it moved into its box in the garage, where it has remained for the last 11 months.
It really is a commitment.
It is a fair amount of trouble to set up and break down. Actually, getting the vegetables and storing them, you really have to go to the grocery store or juice the stuff that night, because if you let it sit in the fridge too long, if the kale starts wilting, the spinach starts wilting, it's not going to be as good, and you lose a lot of the moisture that's going to make the juice awesome. So literally, you go buy the stuff, juice that night, bottle it up, and then drink it over the course of a 4 or 5 day period. Or if you get one of those big boxes from a farm co-op that they bring to offices and stuff, I could see that, because then you just take everything that comes into that, jam it in the juicer, and go crazy. It's not for everyone. If you want to get into juicing, find somebody that sells juice in your area and buy it from them for a while.
It can taste really good. Look at the recipes online. It does make you feel pretty good.
I feel pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't feel super awesome.
Maybe 4,000 tigers. We do have a lot of vegetables and fruit left, so I think it's finished by just making some juice and drinking it.
Great. The other thing I would add is if you want to make, if you want to get cucumber juice and unusual juices for making cocktails or drinks or something like that, then this is a great way to do that. Either one works. The centrifugal is probably easier to set up and take down, which is probably more what you're interested in than wastage and getting nutrients for that use. Cool. So yeah, let's make some juice.